Life behind bars, one inmate's story. In this video, I'm going to share one man's story of his experience in UK prisons. Yes, I said prisons, and you'll find out why. We will also find out the one thing you need to remember if charged with an offense that has a custodial option that will either make or break you mentally if you ever become a prisoner. So let's get started. Before I tell you Mr. X's story, let me first tell you, when you're going to court for sentencing, the criminal courts have many options open to them, and even if you're told, don't worry, it's highly unlikely you will go to prison, or you'll probably just get a suspended sentence, or just a fine maybe, well, guess what? That probably means that there is a risk, and that risk is real. So if you think about it, life in prison has two meanings. For some prisoners, it is the day-to-day life until they are released. For others, it really does mean life. And in the UK, that sentence is called whole life, which literally means until death. Mr. X wishes to remain anonymous, so I will tell you his story in his own words, though I will intercept now and then to explain a bit more of the information he's given you. If you work with clients or have a friend or family member that is in prison or could be sent to prison, then this information will be valuable. And you will also find our other videos valuable. Our playlists are aimed to give you a visual process of the law with a real-life perspective. So subscribe free and share, as information is power. So let's hear Mr. X's story. After having been sentenced at Bristol Crown Court and taken downstairs to the basement for transporting, my barrister told the court that I qualified to go straight to Category D. However, I arrived at Horifield HMP in Bristol, which is a Category B. I was transferred from court in the standard G4 prison van along with 5 others. Once at Horifield, we were called into reception by prison staff, one at a time from the van. This was done by shouting out the full name of the prisoner and stating what the offense they were in for. Really? My turn arrived, and all I heard was my name and misconduct in a public office. The prison officer shouted, "What's that for, then?" I couldn't believe that they didn't know what this meant, and that the probability of who I may have been should have rang alarm bells, but it never. I walked into reception, then told to go into a holding bay until called. I was approached by 3 individuals asking me Megs or Crown. There was never a better time to get my cover story straight. I replied Crown, and each time other inmates asked, they just walked away, saying nothing. I was called to the desk. I sat down and asked for a pen and piece of paper. I wrote who I was and the title of the career I no longer held and passed it back so the others would not hear me. The officer got on the phone and started talking. After I was strip searched for drugs and weapons, all my civilian clothes were removed and I was given prison attire. I was issued blankets, soap, and a toothbrush, and then taken away. Because of who I was put in this segregation block on the ground floor. I was the only one on that first floor. The cell was dark, concrete walls, and a metal door, a small barred window. I had a metal bed fixed to the floor, a thin vinyl mattress, and a toilet. I remained in seg for 3 months, locked up for 23 hours a day. I had 20 minutes of exercise in the yard, and 1 visit to the kitchen to collect a hot meal. The remainder of the meals were passed through the latch of my prison cell. The only thing explained to you in prison is by those who became listeners. These are inmates who have gained the trust of the prison to help others with any questions or concerns. Now, this is sounding a lot like Alec Murdaugh having to be segregated in America. You can see I've done some videos on this case, which you can find in our playlist True Crime Cases. And just recently, Duty Ron did an amazing video on Alex Murdaugh, what his life would be like in prison. So let's take a sneaky peek.
Conversations about cell phones and tablets and all kinds of craziness that happens with these inmates. I see YouTube and TikTok videos with inmates inside their cells, guys, inside their cells. Is this going on? Is Alec Murdaugh, is this convict Murdaugh going to be able to get a cell phone and his own private TV in his cell? Is this something that happens in these facilities? That remains to be seen. Anthony, do you see that in any of your facilities? I know Connie.
Well, I can tell Duty Ron through Mr. X story what happens in the UK, but if you want to know what happens in the good old USA, you will have to watch his video. Duty Ron is a retired New York police officer. He has an excellent panel made up of prison officers and employees, and Jumpsuit Pablo, who is an ex-convict, and will tell you straight up what happens in the USA. So check out Crime Time with Duty Ron. I've left a link below. So let's continue with Mr. X's story. Family and friends can pay into your prison account. I had £80 to be getting on with, which is how much cash I had on my person before attending Crown Court. If you go into prison with no money, it can take a while for things to get set up, with money available to spend at the canteen. I will interject here, as this is one thing to remember, even if your barrister tells you, oh, don't worry about it, you will probably just get a suspended sentence, you'll most likely just have to pay a fine. Well, it is a risk. And the reason it's a risk is if the offense you committed carries a custodial sentence, i.e. if you were bailed at the police station to attend court, to plead, if you plead guilty, you could be sentenced that day. And this could be when you could be brought to prison straight away. So it's at this stage that you need to bring money with you. Any cash money you have on you will be taken off you and put on your prison account to spend without having to wait for family, because it will be difficult to contact your family or friends if you have no money, like, for example, to make a phone call. So if you are in that position, your family will have to be proactive. But like Mr. X told us, you go to a holding prison to get assessed. Then you do move to another prison, and this could happen several times, as there are many reasons why a prisoner could be transferred to different prisons, besides being assessed for what category of prison they are suitable for. On the screen you can see different categorizations. For example, Mr. X's identity was found out. As there is no internet, inmates will ask family members to find out who the mysterious inmate is. Once a high-profile inmate's cover is blown, well, I'll tell you what happened to that inmate that blew Mr. X's cover before ending. Mr. X continues, there are two streams of generating cash. It is either to attend to education or work. This is paid to you by the system, the taxpayer, to encourage rehabilitation upon release. If you are of retirement age or not expected to work because of ill health, then your state pension pays for you whilst you're incarcerated. The general consensus from those who have never been into prison suggest all inmates have access to TVs in their cell, along with PlayStations, etc. This is only available to those who either attend education or work. Those that don't will have these privileges removed. A prisoner can phone home, but the cost of a call is from the prisoner's funds. Either they have earned it through education or work, or a friend or family member has paid into their account. When you make a call, you have to input your prison number. This checks your credit, and then you can dial the number you wish to speak to. If you can have a TV, the TV license is also paid for by each prisoner on a monthly basis. All meals are provided at the taxpayer's expense, as is showers, and exercise yard are basic human rights. Breakfast is usually in your cell. Cereal or fruit. Lunch is a sandwich, fruit, or drink. Evening meal is a hot meal depending on where you are. A Cat B and C prison, you are always eating in your cell. There is no canteen, no table, no chairs. In Cat D, there is a dining hall. Each week you receive a canteen list of shopping items that you can buy. The list is put under your cell door. This shows how much money you have on the top of your sheet, so you know how much to spend. The list includes coffee, biscuit, tinned tuna, sweets, toothpaste, toothbrush, and roll-on deodorants, etc. The list goes on and on, all the things the prison service don't give you, and you can buy from Argos. Having said that, the items were very expensive, and I would say almost double or even triple that which you'd pay on the outside. Some would see this as take it or leave it, while others would see it as unfair on friends and family who are sending money in to help loved ones out. Well, did you notice that? Who knew friends and families can now use a debit card to put money on an inmate spending account, and they will get their money within 3 days? Well, I sure didn't know that, so that's a great note to end on. And I've asked Mr. X if he would tell us more about prison life, so stay tuned. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you about the prisoner that blew Mr. X's cover. He was immediately transferred to another prison. Imagine having to start over, fit in to a new prison. So his action was not very beneficial. I hope you found today's video interesting, and information is power. Why not subscribe and watch more of our videos? If you need legal help, contact legal-minded friends.